What's up, sports fans? Welcome to Sports in the D. This your boy MJ.
It's your boy C Booth. You seen us on the field, now you get to see us in the studio.
You love Detroit sports? We love Detroit sports.
Welcome to the Sports in the D show. All right, man. Let's get into the game of the week, dog.
Okay. Game of the week.
Go ahead and run that, Joey. All right. So, Belleville, Fordson, both teams 5-0.
Right.
All right. Biggest game of the year, man.
Right. He was at that game. And I wasn't, but I got to watch the film. You know what I'm saying? In the editing room. Okay. So what do you take from the game?
I mean, obviously, man, Damon Payne, like right here, he making a play right here. He is extremely impactful, man. That kid is like Khalil Mack out there, man. Just the way he got his size and his speed coming off the edge, it was just really hard for Fordson to get a hand on him and even block him. So I think his impact on that game on defense was really,
it was
really
5 turnovers in the game. Fordson had 3 and Belleville had 2.
I think it might have been more than that.
I think it was 6.
Because you had the blocks.
Yeah.
You got the block kicks too. It was 2 block kicks. So it was about 7.
About 7 turnovers?
I mean, but
so what do you
it was
take
5 in the third quarter.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's a lot.
What are you taking away from Fordson? Who showed out for Fordson for you? Who you putting up on the screen?
26, man.
Number 26?
Yeah.
Keyshawn?
Yeah.
Okay.
He had a really good game.
He did have a really good game. You know, he had 2 scores. Actually, a clip just ran by. He had 2 scores. For me, I thought that, the D-line and the O-line was the biggest difference. I thought that they played exceptionally well. You know, I don't think that any of the mistakes was on the D-line or offensive line as far as Fordson goes. I thought that Belleville played the secondary really good. They didn't have a lot of downfield throws, you know what I'm saying? They was running the ball, but it was no big plays. Fordson didn't have any big plays. Number 4 had a big play later in the day. But for the most part, you know, they shut them down. You know.
What's the turning point?
Turning point for me would have to be the block kick in the third. You know what I'm saying? The block punt. The block punt in the third. I felt like Fordson had the momentum. Just from watching the film, like I said, I was not present at the game. But just from watching the film, I feel like that was the turning point. What about you?
Honestly, I think that's that block kick you was talking about, right?
Oh, right there. Yeah. Number 34 scooped it up. I thought both teams tackled pretty well, honestly.
Yeah.
I didn't see too many,
That's Damon again, I'm telling you, man.
Okay. 34 again.
This was Antonio Big Catch.
Gage Jr. Yeah, I thought they played him really well.
Yeah.
I thought they played him really well, you know.
You got Andre over the top. It's a lot of speed, man. That was a big touchdown catch. I think the turning point, this point of the game, it was 6-6 for a good part of the game. That was a huge catch, too, to get them up for their second touchdown. But they scored, it was 6-6 pretty much until the fourth quarter, you know what I mean? And then they both had them 2 touchdowns. Number 4 had a big run right here, even though he dropped it. Like, man, they got to hold on to the ball, man.
It's the sleeves, man. You know them sleeves is slippery.
Yeah, and they keep wearing them turf tape. But, no, I thought the turning point for me is coming up right here. When Fordson went for 2. I thought when they went for 2, I understand why Coach did it. They got him off sides 2 times. They were closer to the goal line, but I thought them just not being able to convert it. Like I think them not converting it it could have went into overtime. The score was 20-19. So I'm thinking if they convert that, it's an overtime game. Who knows who to win that game? So
Right. Okay, so
you got the player of the week.
Player of the week.
Can you pause that?
Okay, yeah. I got my player of the week. You want me to go first?
Go ahead.
Okay, let me look at my notes real quick. You know, I do all mine digital. You know what I'm saying? He's a paper guy. He's a traditional, analyst. But here, give me 1 second. Player of the week for me is C.J. Brown. For me, C.J. sent me his stats. Actually, he been balling all year. To be honest with you, he got 9 touchdowns, but last week he had 2 touchdowns. He had 1 long bomb for 54 yards that he caught for Zach Trainer. Dude, remember, he a running back. So he come out on like a little wheel route, stick the guy, come around the edge, catches it. I mean, it's over the shoulder. He falls when he catches it. He runs all the way. He did get a penalty for pointing at the guy. I guess the MHSA really strict, but it was a cool play. You know, and he ran the ball hard the entire time. Let me pull up his stats. It's really fast.
He looked like my man's off of Juice.
Which one?
I can't remember his name. You know I'm terrible with acting names.
Let me see.
Quincy, whoever played GQ.
Oh, you talking about Omar Epps?
Yeah.
He did have that. He did got that swag. All right, so here's his. He had 2 touchdowns, 11 carries for 71 yards, 6 receptions for 91 yards. You know, he was just catching passes in traffic. He was getting hit. It was his game. You know what I'm saying? Those 2 touchdowns was big. You know, I feel like they could have even ran it up a little bit more. But yeah, that's my player of the week. So CJ Brown, you know, Instagram @PaidC. Yeah, you my player of the week, man.
I think I'm gonna go back to the Belleville game. I think Christian was the player of the game, man. I thought he was pretty consistent most of the game. I really don't know his stats, but just off of watching him play in that game, his leadership was definitely found. People was definitely paying attention to him as the way he was making throws, how he was scrambling around, still being able to make plays.
Whipping it.
And then in the second, you know, he kind of struggled early, but he kind of still kept his head in it because the turnovers in the third quarter was huge, man. You know what I mean? And it was a lot of just like handoff stuff. You know what I mean? Christian, he wasn't a part of any of those fumbles, but I think him stepping up after Fordson scored that first touchdown, when they got up to 13, when number 2 caught that touchdown, I think when Christian coming back the next drive and scoring was huge, because that kept them in the game. That gave them juice, you know. And then it was late in the game.
On the deep
then number 4 had the big run where the one where he dropped it, and then they wound up getting it in. They went for 2, they didn't get it, but you knew he had some confidence going into that last drive, man.
Right.
So I just thought, honestly, he was my player. I mean, and then he had to play it a week too, man. You wanna run that for me, Joey?
Can we get some volume?
Sweet, man.
And speaking of player of the week, moment of the week. That's our moment of the week. We both agreed that was probably the biggest moment of the year so far. Like you said, you had 2 5-0 teams going head to head, down to the wire, and boom. You know what I'm saying? That's what you get. Kurt, what about moment of the week?
Yeah, basketball player, man. I'm looking for his name right now. Connor Bush. He didn't play the entire game, man. So I just thought him being able to come in the game and make that play at that crucial time, and then the coaches having trust in him, and not even just the coaches, Christian having the trust in him. I thought that was amazing. So
now we're about to get into the PSL rankings. This year has been different. It's been a lot different than what we normally used to. You know, we're going to get into that. But you want to count down backwards? Give me who you got at number 5, man.
I think Mumford is number 5. They 4-2. They got 2 wins off of forfeits. I think that they really kind of showing their worth right now because they played a really good game against Cash. 24-6 in the game at home. I thought that was pretty huge.
All right.
I got it number 4.
I also got Mumford at number 5. Number 4 for me is still Cass Tech. I could not put Mumford over Cass Tech, even though Cass Tech has a worse record. They are 2-4 this year, but they played 2 out-of-state teams. And when I looked at the out-of-state teams' records, the Chicago team, they were 5-1. You know what I'm saying?
I think they just lost to Simeon.
Yeah, they just lost to Simeon. So I mean, those are good teams. You know. And so I'm keeping Cass Tech in there. I do still think they got the talent. I still do think they got the players. They're just having a down year this year. I mean, we could call it a rebuilding year, whatever you want to call it. Now we're going to get into number 3. Who you got at number 3?
Yeah, I had Cass at number 4 as well. For a lot of the same reasons, man. I think Cass still got a lot of talent, but I mean, Renaissance just beat them, so you got to put them at 3. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, that was a pretty big game. You got Cass homecoming, which they honestly, I don't know why they didn't play at home. They played at Northwestern, but
That's
I thought,
confusing.
it is kind of confusing.
Yeah.
It's got to be something with that field, man.
Yeah.
But I think that's got a lot to do with it too. I think Cass they haven't had a
That
home
energy.
game.
Yeah.
Anytime you go to Cass, man, Cass got that feeling. Like
Yeah.
the band playing,
The coaches.
they don't have a track around their
Right,
field.
right.
You know what I
Everything
mean? The
close,
grass.
enclosed.
It was, it's a tough place to play. So I think honestly, Renaissance. You got to put Renaissance number 3. Who you got at 3?
I got Rennie at 3 too, man.
Yeah.
We did talk about this on the way over to the studio. But I'm going number 2, a team that you've seen play twice. So a lot of what my decisions are based on my partner's decision, on Kurt's decision. We don't always agree on stuff, but this I agree with. And we got Denby at number 2. I have Denby at number 2. Denby is 5-1. They lost to King, which, okay, what do you think we have King? We're not going to talk about that right now. They are 5-1, but they only lost to King. And what did they lose to King to? 32?
It was 32. It was 32-14. I agree with that, man. Denby's got to be number 2. You know what I mean? Honestly, with their ability, they do a really good job at stopping a run. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, they just got a bunch of athletes, man. I think the main thing in that game between King and obviously King is number 1.
Right.
They 4-2 right now, but I think from the game, just watching the game, I'm looking at the offensive line. The game is won in the trenches, man. And I think King just dominated that. I think that's why they're number 1.
Right. And I think the teams that they lost to, they lost that battle. So, they did lose to CC. And they also lost to Muskegon. Those 2 really good schools. Muskegon undefeated right now. Them boys, they nasty out in Muskegon. And, I follow a lot of the players on social media, and a lot of the King players, even though, coming into the game, it was a rivalry, they got a lot of respect for the Muskegon players. You know what I'm saying? They beat them last year in the state finals. I wasn't around for that, but I have rewatched the footage on that game. And so, that was a fun game. But we do have King, number 1 in the PSL for a reason. 4-2, I think they went out. What do you think?
I think they went out. I forgot who they played this week. But it wasn't even highlighted in our games this week too.
Right.
PSL games this week. Obviously 2 big PSL games this week. Renaissance and Mumford. That's gonna really determine a lot just in seating for the playoffs, the PSL playoffs, and then you got Denby and Western. Western is a team to mention. They are 4-2.
They are.
You know what I mean? And Cass is 2-4, but you got to mention another 4-2 team. So I believe that's definitely something worth mentioning.
All right.
Honestly, man, big time players make big time plays in big time games, right? So we got this top 10 list. We created this top 10 list, top 10 impact players in the state of Michigan
through week 6
in the Metro Detroit, majority in the Metro Detroit area, because that's what we see most often.
Right.
But go ahead, man. Let's start at number 10, man.
We're going to start at number 10. Okay. Number 10, we have Enzo from Oak Park High School. He's a cornerback. Enzo, he's really good. A lot of the film. When I watched Enzo highlights through his huddle through week 6, I saw him making plays, but I didn't see a lot of people throwing his way. He got a Revis Island type feel, where people just don't come at him. So I feel like he could even be higher on this list if people threw his way. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I won a fantasy last night. If people would throw his way, but they don't throw his way. So, he's a really good run tackling cornerback.
He's huge, man. He's like 6'2".
Yeah.
It's hard.
Long wrapping up to the legs, So that's number 10. We agreed on this list. It was an agreeable list. Who do you got?
I think Rashawn is number 9, man.
Okay.
And I say Rashawn is number 9 because I think that King, they game plan to get him the ball right now is just like very minimum. And I don't know why, but I think it's been games where he could have had more of an impact if he touched the ball a little bit more. I know his stats probably don't look as amazing as some of the other players on his team, but I think Rashawn, when he plays, man, when Rashawn is in the game and he's making catches and he's making plays, like
he's an energy guy.
Felt.
Yeah,
he's the captain on the team. He's the leader on the team. They all look at him, and I think, honestly, he's probably the best 50-50 receiver in the state. Just because if it's up in the air, Rashawn going to go get it. You know what I mean? And if it's in his vicinity, he can catch it, he going to get it. So,
right.
Who you got at number 8?
At number 8, we got Cornell Willard, West Bloomfield High School. If we didn't mention the other high schools before, Rashawn was at Martin Luther King and Enzo was at Oak Park. But we got Cornell, middle linebacker at West Bloomfield High School. So he played for the Lakers, Michigan commit. Just watching him on field, man, the dude is a great run stopper. He's just tenacious. You know what I'm saying? I went to a game where he played. Who did they play? They played Southfield. They played Southfield, and the game was only, I think it was 14-8, and Southfield just couldn't run the ball. They couldn't move the ball. I'm on Southfield sideline, and they just talking about the plays that he making inside the sideline. He just run stop, and he's everywhere, and so that's what made me put him at number 8. I just think his impact is huge. They only gave up, a bunch of points one time, and that was to Lake Orion, and that was how many overtimes is that? 4 overtimes. They gave up 52 points in 4 overtimes. So Cornell Willard is number 8. Now we got to get through this list, so we're gonna speed it up a little bit. But who you have at number 7?
I got Andre, man. Andre, his speed is just. He running 4.4, man. So it's hard to keep up with a kid that can run that fast. On defense, he can catch up with anybody. That's why they played him a lot at safety in the Fordson game. Yeah, man, that catch he had was really big. So.
Catch he had was really big in that game as well. But yeah, and they use him, his versatility, that, and he's safety, he corner, you know what I'm saying? He running, from the 50 to the 50, you know what I'm saying? Sideways, vertical, or horizontal across the field, that's something he's good at as well.
You got a 6.
Number 6, I got Makari Page, man. You could just turn on Makari Page's, week 6, through week 6 huddle, and you just see, man, the dude got a knack for the ball, game 1.
7 minutes of highlights.
Right.
Through 6 games, man. Like, that's crazy.
Right. You was at the Oak Park game when they played Oak Park, and he had the game-winning interception to end the game.
I was there when he caught the game-winning catch in the 707, the Hamtramck 707.
Right.
He caught the game-winner in that one, too. So, he got a knack for the ball, man.
Yeah, 2 years ago, he caught a game-winner versus Cass Tech, actually, when to seal it, when they was going to play Cass Tech had just beat Chippewa Valley. This was 2 years ago.
I didn't know that was him. That's what's up.
Yeah, Makari Page. So, man. The
Michigan commit.
Yeah, the kid a baller. Kid a baller, But we're going to jump into number 5 real quick. And who you got at number 5?
Man, Abdur, man. Shout out to Abdur, man. Every time I see you, man, I'm always like missing the clip or something, man. But Abdur, man, he's just a playmaker, dude. Every time I see him, he always making plays. He one-on-one balls. He's probably, when it comes to creating separation, one-on-one balls are easy for him because he doesn't even have to go up and fight with anybody to go get the ball. It's right there every time. Right. So I just think, I definitely think that he's number 5.
Right. He went Rashawn for best 50-50 ball. I'm saying it's either a tie, or I think when it comes to 50-50, I think Rashawn's speed, is he's faster, but I think that the 50-50 balls will go to Abdur. That's just my opinion. But at number, where we at? We have 4. At number 4, I got my boy Myron Harris. I talked to Myron Harris last year before the season started at a Little League game. To my cousin, his dad, coaches for, my cousin played for. And he told me what he was going to do. He's done everything he said he was going to do up to this point. And he sent me his stats earlier today, and I'm looking at his stats. Dude has, he got 12 touchdowns on the season. He got 1 touchdown, receiving touchdown. He's averaging 7.6 yards a carry. Come on, man, get real. He got 11 rushing touchdowns. And then he got
carries.
His carries, he got 111 carries, but he's first game 159, second game 175, third game 199, 62 in one game, 126, 120. He's rushed over 100 yards in all but one game, so that's really important. I like Myron. He can even come in and play defense, you know what I'm saying, when they need him to at linebacker. I think he's an absolute stud. But since he's only a one-way player, his impact is minimal. He's not really a one-way player, but he really kind of is. So his impact is, not as high as some of these other players above him. Who you got at number 3?
Cam Martinez. We saw him play when they played King. You also saw him play when they played De La Salle.
Yeah.
But man, they
need him.
Yeah, Cam is an excellent. It's hard to get him on the ground, man. Like, he's so strong. His running skills, the way he can move in between those holes, and then he played quarterback, but he still rushed for like 200 yards. You know what I mean? That's kudos to the offense that they run. But I do think that they really need him in order to keep going. So yeah, Who you got at number 2?
At number 2, and we talked about this. These next two, man, we went back and forth for a minute, all night in the car, all night when we went out to eat. We talked about these two, but I had my homeboy, All-American JR, Justin Rogers. I had him at number 2, and this is only based through 6 weeks. But you can watch Justin huddle, man. Justin is an amazing two-way player. Obviously, they got him ranked number 1. He's committed to Kentucky. We understand all that. But his energy is just something. And to me, he make his teammates better. Now, I'd have seen the guys that he played with that's on the D-line with him, and I'd have seen them boys come up together, and he inspires them. I've watched him hang out with his friends, and he's just a huge impact on his team. His humility, his tenaciousness, he's a nice kid, but he will get up in your face if you see it on the tackles. I don't really see too many offensive linemen who are as aggressive as he is on offense. He's going on offense like he wants to tackle you, but he can't tackle you or to be a penalty, but he wants to, but he's not on defense. So that's why he plays defense. And then with his speed, he can play linebacker. Don't get me started on what I think Justin can do. He's probably my favorite player in all of high school sports.
Yeah, he a West 7 Ram, man. So all the way, shout out West 7 Ram, 7 my baby.
Right.
But Justin, he crazy impactful player, man. Going to Kentucky, that kid had 50 something offers, man. It's ridiculous. I think number 1, obviously, you can go back and forth with them, man, honestly. But I had to put Dame there, man. We both agreed on Dame. We think that his impact is just in that game, in the Fordson game, the biggest game of the year. He had probably the biggest impact in that game. Just his ability to get off the edge. They was doing all kind of stunts with him. They were moving him everywhere, and everywhere he was at, he had that Khalil Mack effect. Like, when Khalil Mack come off the edge, it's hard to block the rest of the line because he brings so much pressure from that one side. Right. So the quarterback got to move. He got to move up in the pocket, or he got to scramble. Right. He did that all game.
Right. He was in on every big turnover that I saw from the highlights. And run stopper. You know what I'm saying? You're a good run stopper. It makes a huge difference.
Yeah. Man. This we're gonna wrap up the show, man. Honestly, I think that this was I think this week was actually a really good week, man. Week 6 was a really good week. I think week 7 is going to be an even better week. Right. Continue to send us those huddle highlights. We want to be able to see everybody. We don't want the impact players just to be the teams that we see.
Right.
We want it to be players that actually make impacts on their team, that help their team play better. Without them being on the field, are they still the same team? So, I really.
Shout out your boy from Franklin real quick, man. You said you really like him.
Oh, Keebler. He the coach's son, too. It's a lot of people this year that's got coach's sons. At Rochester Adams, too. I can't remember his name. Start with a P. And then you got the head coach and the son at Brother Rice, too.
Okay.
Quarterback, so.
All right, so that's the show, man. The Sports in the D show. We appreciate y'all time. We hope y'all view it. Give us feedback, please, because we do not know everything. You know what I'm saying? We not those type of guys. But when we started the, Sports in the D, the mantra was for fans, by fans. We always hashtag FFBF. And we just fans, and we just discussing this. So if you guys want to talk to us,
nothing without y'all, man.
Yeah.
Actually, we fans just as much as y'all fans.
Right. So if y'all want to talk to us about anything, Little League, the Spartans, Detroit Pal, the Raiders, it don't matter. Hit us up in our DMs. You can find us at SportsInTheD_ on Instagram, SportsInTheD_ on Twitter, and SportsInTheD on YouTube. We're gonna get our Facebook going. All right, thanks. We out of here. Peace.